As the fluorescent lights flickered overhead, the hospital corridor bustled with activity. Among the crowd, an old man caught the attention of those nearby. His name was Mr. Thompson, a frail figure with silver hair that fluttered like wisps of cotton candy in the breeze. He wore a worn-out navy jacket that had seen better days, its sleeves slightly frayed at the edges. The jacket bore a faint emblem, hinting at a life filled with bravery and service. In his arms, he lovingly cradled a small baby wrapped in a soft, blue blanket. The baby cooed softly, her tiny hands reaching out as if to explore the world around her. Mr. Thompson's face lit up with warmth as he gazed down at her, his tired eyes sparkling with affection. To anyone passing by, it was clear that this bond between them was special. He wasn't just holding her but cherishing every moment. However, not everyone felt the same way. As people walked past, whispers began to circulate among the hospital staff and visitors. Some frowned disapprovingly at the sight of an elderly man carrying an infant alone, questioning his capabilities and whether he should be entrusted with such a precious responsibility. "What kind of grandfather brings a baby to a hospital?" one nurse murmured under her breath, while another rolled her eyes in disbelief. The misunderstandings grew as more people cast judgmental glances at Mr. Thompson. They didn't know his story or the strength that lay behind his gentle demeanor. Instead of seeing a veteran who had fought bravely for others, they saw only an old man who seemed out of place and perhaps even irresponsible. Mr. Thompson continued to soothe the baby without noticing the stares or comments directed at him. He hummed softly and held her close, oblivious to the cloud of judgment forming around him. Little did everyone know that within moments, their perceptions would shift dramatically as they learned about his true identity and the heroic life he had led, one that was filled with courage and selflessness far beyond their understanding. As Mr. Thompson stood in the bustling hospital corridor, the warmth of his gaze toward the baby contrasted sharply with the cold looks of disapproval from those around him. The atmosphere changed as whispers rippled through the crowd, each murmur carrying a note of judgment. Hospital staff, typically compassionate and understanding, exchanged concerned glances as they passed by. A nurse, her brow furrowed, paused for a moment to scrutinize Mr. Thompson. "He looks like he could barely take care of himself, let alone a baby," she said softly to her colleague. "What kind of grandfather brings an infant into a hospital like this?" Her voice carried a hint of disbelief, reflecting a growing unease about the old man's presence. Nearby visitors joined in on the silent gossip fest, their expressions shifting from curiosity to skepticism. An elderly woman tilted her head and whispered to her husband, "He must be too old to hold that child properly. Someone should step in." The couple exchanged worried glances before continuing on their way, leaving Mr. Thompson unwittingly at the center of their criticism. As more people entered the corridor, a young father with his own toddler looked over at Mr. Thompson and frowned. "That poor kid doesn't seem safe," he remarked as he ushered his child away from the old man. The more viewers who witnessed those judgmental reactions, the more it fueled an aura of disapproval surrounding Mr. Thompson. Through all this, Mr. Thompson remained blissfully unaware of the whispers swirling around him. His world revolved solely around the baby in his arms. He sang softly and swayed gently as if sharing a secret lullaby just for her. While others were quick to assume irresponsibility based on appearances alone, their opinions were formed without knowing anything about him or his life. The misconception hung heavily in the air when it was clear that they saw only an elderly man rather than a remarkable person who had lived through great challenges, a reality they would soon come to realize was far from their initial assumptions. Despite the whispers and judgment swirling around him, Mr. Thompson remained a picture of calmness and love as he held the baby close. His hands, though weathered and shaky, cradled her with surprising gentleness. Each little coo from the baby drew forth a soft chuckle from him, and his face transformed into a warm smile that melted the tension in the air. He leaned down slightly, his silver hair brushing against the baby's cheek as he whispered sweet words. "You're such a brave little one," he said softly, his voice a soothing balm amid the chaos of the hospital. The baby responded with gurgles and laughter, her tiny fingers wrapping around his finger as if she understood how much he cared for her. In that moment, it was clear to anyone watching that their bond was genuine and filled with affection. As Mr. Thompson continued to interact with the baby, he sang softly, a tune that seemed to resonate with memories of days gone by. The song spoke of love and adventure, carrying hints of his own past experiences as he rocked gently back and forth. He seemed oblivious to the disapproving glances aimed at him. Instead, he focused solely on making the baby feel secure and cherished. While others in the hospital were quick to judge based on appearances alone, Mr. Thompson's demeanor painted a different picture altogether. He radiated patience and warmth. There was no hint of anxiety or frustration on his face as he tended to her needs. When she fussed slightly, he instinctively adjusted her position, ensuring she was comfortable and safe in his arms. The old man's loving nature shone through every interaction, as if challenging those who judged him without truly knowing him. It became evident that Mr. Thompson possessed a depth of character shaped by years of experience, one that could not be encapsulated by mere age or physical appearance alone. As he continued to nurture the baby, it felt like a quiet rebellion against the assumptions made about him, a testament to his true identity waiting to be unveiled to those who doubted him. As Mr. Thompson continued to cradle the baby, moments of his past began to flicker in his mind. He was not just an elderly man, he was a war veteran whose life had been dedicated to serving others. Once, he had worn a uniform adorned with medals that gleamed in the sunlight, each one representing a story of bravery and sacrifice. As a firefighter during his youth, he had risked his life time and again, charging into burning buildings to rescue those trapped inside. In those intense moments amidst the flames, fear had never deterred him. Instead, it fueled his courage. He remembered the faces of families he had saved, the relief in their eyes as he brought them to safety, each rescue reminding him why he fought against the odds. Images of children hugged close, their hearts racing from fear but eventually filled with gratitude, flooded back to him as he held the baby in his arms. After his years of service on the front lines and in the firehouse, Mr. Thompson transitioned into a quieter life focused on community service. He became a mentor to younger firefighters and veterans, sharing lessons learned through trials that tested both body and spirit. His dedication persisted long after he hung up his firefighter's helmet. Even now, he volunteered at shelters and community centers, always looking for ways to give back. The journey through adversity left its marks. His hands might tremble now with age, but they were hands that had cradled countless lives. He often told stories about bravery and compassion to children at local schools, inspiring them to understand the value of helping others. The same care that animated those stories flowed naturally into how he interacted with the baby now nestled against him. Mr. Thompson was more than what met the eye. Within him resided a wealth of experience framed by love for others and a commitment to make the world better. The judgmental glances of those around him held no weight compared to the resilience and tenderness woven into his character, a brave heart still beating strong despite passing years and unkind assumptions waiting for discovery by those who doubted him. The atmosphere in the hospital corridor shifted dramatically when a familiar face appeared. As Mr. Thompson continued to comfort the baby, a young nurse named Emily entered the scene, her eyes widening in recognition. She had grown up listening to tales of bravery from her grandfather, a retired firefighter who had once served alongside Mr. Thompson. The stories of heroism and selflessness flooded back to her as she approached the old man. "Mr. Thompson?" Emily asked, her voice tinged with disbelief. "Is that really you?" He looked up, slightly surprised, but his warm smile remained unchanged. "Yes, dear," he replied softly, still focused on the baby in his arms. As Emily's mind raced through memories of her childhood, she began to recall the many times her grandfather had shared stories about Mr. Thompson's incredible acts of bravery during fires and rescues. Her heart swelled with admiration for the man standing before her, whom she had only ever known through anecdotes. The nurse turned to her colleagues who had been watching with judgmental eyes and said, "This is Mr. Thompson, a legendary firefighter and war veteran. He saved countless lives while risking his own." The disbelief among the staff was palpable as they processed this new information. Suddenly, everything changed. The whispers that had circulated moments before shifted from skepticism to awe. Faces softened as others began to approach him with respect rather than judgment. Some even spoke up about their own family members who had shared stories of his heroics, connecting past and present in an unexpected way. Realization washed over the staff and visitors alike. A powerful lesson about humility and compassion surfaced from this moment. They understood that age did not define a person's worth or capability. Instead, it offered depth and wisdom that could enrich lives in ways they could not have imagined. As Mr. Thompson continued to sing softly to the baby, those around him gained newfound appreciation for the incredible life he had led, prompting each person to reflect on their own judgments and how quickly they had drawn conclusions without understanding the full story. It was a profound reminder that everyone has a unique journey worth acknowledging, and that true character often lies just beneath the surface. As the realization of Mr. Thompson's true identity swept through the hospital, the atmosphere shifted entirely. Those who had once been skeptical now approached him with expressions of respect and admiration. The buzz of conversation filled the corridor as stories about his heroics began to circulate, and many recalled how their own families were touched by his bravery. Word soon spread beyond the walls of the hospital, reaching local news outlets and community forums. People began gathering to express their support, feeling a mix of shame for their earlier judgments and gratitude for Mr. Thompson's service. At the heart of this newfound appreciation was a community eager to embrace him as a local hero once more. Just days after the incident, a group of nurses organized an event to honor Mr. Thompson. They invited him to share his experiences as a firefighter with students at local schools and encouraged community members to attend. Flyers adorned with images of him in uniform were distributed throughout the neighborhood, drawing in families eager to hear his stories. On the day of the event, parents and children filled the auditorium, buzzing with excitement. When Mr. Thompson took the stage, he was greeted by thunderous applause that echoed against the walls. As he spoke of courage, compassion, and the importance of helping each other, it became clear that his message resonated deeply with everyone present. The young ones listened intently, wide-eyed as he recounted tales of climbing ladders into blazing buildings and saving lives. He shared valuable lessons learned from both triumphs and mistakes, emphasizing that everyone has struggles, but perseverance can lead to great things. Inspired by Mr. Thompson's humility, community members began taking action to give back themselves. They organized volunteer events, participating in cleanup efforts around town and collecting donations for fire safety education programs. A renewed spirit of unity blossomed as neighbors joined hands in service to one another. The community had come full circle. They not only recognized Mr. Thompson's worth but learned an important lesson about empathy and understanding. Encouraged by his example, they promised to support one another more generously moving forward, forever grateful for the chance to re-evaluate their judgments in light of newfound knowledge about a truly remarkable man among them. As the echoes of applause faded and the warmth of admiration surrounded Mr. Thompson, the community found itself reflecting on the profound lessons learned that day. It was clear that respect should be extended to every individual, regardless of their age or appearance. The initial judgments that had been cast upon Mr. Thompson based solely on his frailty and the sight of him holding a baby now felt like a stark reminder of how easy it is to jump to conclusions without truly understanding someone's story. Many in the audience felt a wave of guilt wash over them, realizing how their first impressions had blinded them to the remarkable person standing before them. The community's narrow view had led to harsh whispers and judgment, but as they listened to Mr. Thompson share his life experiences, the misunderstanding transformed into valuable insights about character and resilience. His journey from a brave firefighter to a loving caretaker reminded everyone that there is often much more beneath the surface than what meets the eye. As conversations flowed among attendees after the event, individuals began sharing personal experiences and discussing how they, too, had been guilty of quick judgments in the past. There was a shared consensus: every person has their own unique journey filled with triumphs and struggles that deserve recognition and respect. The community pledged to approach each other with kindness and an open mind moving forward, promising to look beyond appearances and appreciate the stories that shape individuals. This moment of realization fostered a renewed sense of camaraderie within the community. They began organizing regular gatherings focused on sharing personal stories, where everyone could speak about their challenges and victories. Not only did these gatherings strengthen bonds among neighbors, but they also served as a platform for learning from one another's experiences. In the end, Mr. Thompson's encounter became a catalyst for change, a significant reminder that everyone deserves dignity and respect. As people walked away from that day inspired by his example, they carried with them an important truth: first impressions can often mislead us, but the hearts behind those impressions are filled with stories waiting to be told and understood.